Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday, all you freaks out there. I hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. We've got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes a new opportunity to go ahead and make some money. There's no better opportunity like Freaky Friday. Our 5-leg Freaky Friday parlay is today. Now, typically on Freaky Friday, our 5-leg parlays like to do plus 500 odds or higher. Today's is plus 481, so it's a little bit below plus 500, so we are cheating a little bit today. But I like the legs, I like the spots in each of the picks that I'm willing to sacrifice the, 19 points of value, plus 481 to plus 500. If I'm feeling really confident, if I feel like it's going to cash, we'll go ahead and sacrifice a little bit of value there and break the rules, bend them, I should say, a little bit. But guys, real quick, before we dive into today's parlay, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And overall, guys, we had another successful night, another cashing night on our hands. That wasn't a major cash. We didn't win, handfuls and handfuls of units, but we did win in the end of the day. We went 2-1 overall last night, plus 0.76 units. We're now 10-6 on the week for our single bets and up over 3 units of profit this week. After the disaster that was last week, we've definitely turned the ship around this week and righted the ship, whatever ship analogy you want to use. We've turned this thing around. Last night was a little frustrating, though, because we should have had a sweep. Now, Bradley Beal, I got a lot of slack for that one, rightfully so. Again, it was only because they're playing Washington, but it doesn't even matter because he didn't even play. That being said, Devin Booker did have a big game, and the data was right for shooting guards. Probably should have maybe switch that out and put Devin Booker in there. But we had a profitable night. We're not going to complain and look back with, 2020 vision. Hindsight's always 2020. The one that really frustrated the hell out of me was Jared Allen. I don't know if you guys watched that game. The Cavs got blown the hell out in that spot. It was crazy. Jared Allen didn't play in the second half. My man had 13 points and 7 rebounds, or 7 points and 13 rebounds. I can't remember, but I know he had 20 points plus rebounds going into halftime and didn't record a single stat the rest of the game. He only played 16 minutes. We were on the road. We were 5 points plus rebounds a game away from cashing that over. That should have been a hit. Sportsbook should void those. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Luckily, we did win the other two, but if had I lost the other two or I lost one of the other two and had a losing night, I would have been so fired up, more than I am now, about this Jared Allen prop. What happened to the old school mentality of you're getting blown out and you're sucking ass? You stay in there. Why do you get to sit out and get a night off because you suck? Jared Allen didn't suck. He shot 6 for 6 from the floor last night. But I'm just saying, like, that old school mentality of, like, you know what? You're going to suck ass. You're going to stay in that game. But that's just not the modern mentality. And now we put all the bench guys in and we let them have their day. And it is what it is. But anyways, guys, enough rambling on my side here. We got a player prop parlay to go ahead and get to, guys. 5 legs plus 481 coming your way right now. All right, guys, jumping on over to the outlier screen, our first leg of our 5-leg Freaky Friday parlay. We're targeting the Magic Celtics game, 7 p.m. tip-off. We're going Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic over 19.5 points. Now, we are using FanDuel for today's parlay. This is most of these, pretty much all of these are alternate lines. Minus 260 over on FanDuel for Paolo. And because these are all alternate lines, guys, the data is going to be pretty solid here. Paolo Banchero has cashed this over of 19.5 points in 8 of his last 10 games, an 80% hit rate, averaging 28.6 points per game over his last 10 games. Now, Paolo has just played 3 games since returning from injury, and he has actually cashed the over in all 3 games since returning from injury, which obviously is an encouraging sign. Overall, in 2024, a 75% hit rate on this over. 6 out of 8 games he's cashed it, averaging 27.63 points per game this season. And from a head-to-head data standpoint, we don't have any data from the current year. Actually, all of our information is from last season, the beginning of last year, the first half of last year, I should say. He did cash in 2 out of 3 meetings with Boston last year, though, 67% hit rate, averaging 24.33 points per game over those 3 meetings last year. And the last time they played back on December 17th, he had a massive performance, 36 points in that spot. And even looking at his last 20 games, stretching the data out to over the last year plus, dating back to, I should say, April of last season, an 85% hit rate, 17 out of 20 games, averaging 26.15 points per game. Whatever way you want to shake it, he's having a really good run lately. He's one of the bright young stars in the NBA. In terms of a defensive matchup here, now Boston is ranked top 10 in the NBA. In terms of points allowed, a really solid defensive team, although lately Boston's kind of been off the mark. This team is definitely not playing the way they were last year. Last year's historic team, they've definitely fallen off a little bit here. Look at the matchup here versus small forwards. They are top 3 in points allowed, giving up just 18.2 points per game to the small forward position. However, Paolo does play some minutes at the power forward spot. They are 25th in the NBA. Boston's real weak point on defense is versus power forwards, giving up 24.6 points per game this year to the power forward position. Again, Paolo kind of plays between the 3 and the 4 minutes wise. Regardless of the defensive matchup, I do think it's a pretty solid spot to take Paolo on this over here at 19.5 points. All right, guys, our second leg in today's parlay comes from Timberwolves Knicks, 7:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Mikal Bridges of the New York Knicks over 14.5 points. Again, alternate line over on FanDuel, minus 230 odds. The data, again, going to be pretty solid here. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, a 60% hit rate, averaging 17.2 points per game over his last 10 games. So far in 2024, though, a 71% hit rate on this over. 30 out of 42 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 17.95 points per game this year. So some pretty good numbers across the board here for Mikal Bridges. And from a head-to-head standpoint, each of his last 3 meetings with the Minnesota Timberwolves dating back to last year as a member of the Brooklyn Nets, he has cashed the over a 100% hit rate, averaging 21.67 points per game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have played once this year already. Back on December 19th, he had 29 points in that matchup. It was a big win for the New York Knicks. The shot volume, obviously there, he took 18 shots in the game, shot 67% from the floor in that spot. Again, we don't need him to score 29. If he scores 15 points, literally almost cut that number in half, you still have yourself a cash. And look at the defensive matchup here versus small forwards. Minnesota this year, 27th in the NBA in terms of points allowed to the small forward position, giving up 23.1 points per game. So it looks like across the board, we got a pretty solid matchup here for Mikal Bridges. We've got 3 legs left in today's parlay, guys, but I forgot to mention on top of the video, as always, with every Freaky Friday parlay video here we do on the NBA player prop video series, we do an Amazon gift card giveaway every Friday. The rules are simple. Comment Freaky down below, and if today's parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. It's very easy. It's easy money. If the parlay hits, you win the money for the parlay, and you could possibly win a free $25 Amazon gift card. So please go ahead and comment Freaky down below, guys. Let's have a really good Freaky Friday here. I'm feeling good about today's parlay. All right, guys, our third leg in today's parlay comes from the Raptors-Bucks game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going Grady Dick of the Toronto Raptors over 9.5 points. And, of course, there's no player that's better to pick on Freaky Friday than Grady Dick. Over 9.5 points over here again on FanDuel. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 11.2 points per game over his last 10 games. So far in 2024, 77% hit rate on this over for Grady Dick. 27 out of 35 games he's cashed the over, averaging 16.2 points per game this season. And from a head-to-head data standpoint, each of his last 4 meetings with the Milwaukee Bucks, he has cashed the over. He's played them 2 times this year, cashing the over both times. And back on November 12th, he had a really solid game, 32 points against Milwaukee. Now, the Bucks this year have overall been a pretty solid defensive team, but on the perimeter, I have my doubts. 30th in points per game to point guards, although Grady Dick is a shooting guard. Versus shooting guards, they actually are top 3, but I think Middleton probably not playing here. I'm not really sure what to think. Gary Trent also questionable, game time decision. I think we got a pretty good matchup on our hands here. And to maybe improve our case, Emmanuel Quickley is out tonight for Toronto, which only makes us the better prop if we go ahead and look like what this looks like without Quickley. Now, the numbers are still 77% hit rate, 20 out of 26 games. His point per game average, though, does go up a point. He goes from like 16, whatever it was, to 17.46. So the percentage of cash rate still stays the same, but his numbers do increase. And the head-to-head data this year, again, he played Milwaukee back on November 12th without Quickley. He had 32 points in that game. His last 10 games without Quickley, 8 of his last 10 games, averaging 14.9 points per game. And last but not least, guys, we have the insights provided by Outlier. Shout out to Outlier. Link will be in the pinned comment to go ahead and check it out for a free 7-day free trial. All this data, all the insight you're seeing in today's video could be accessible to you if you sign up for Outlier. And again, you're getting 7 days free to check it out for yourself. So make sure to check out the pinned comment with the final plays. In that pinned comment will also contain the link for Outlier. So the insight provided by Outlier, like I was saying, Grady Dick, we got duped there. He has failed to exceed 12.5 points in 5 straight games versus top 10 defenses, but we're not taking him at 12.5 points. We're taking him at 9.5 points, and he actually has cashed in 3 of his last 5 games against top 10 defenses for points allowed. So we kind of we outsmarted Outlier a little bit there. Their insights, pretty good insight. If you're going under 12.5 points, not bad. But, the over 12.5, the over 9.5 here still looks pretty good, despite the positive insight from Outlier there. All right, guys, our fourth leg in today's parlay comes from the Hornets-Bulls game, 8 p.m. tip-off, all reliable. My cash cow this year, Nikola Vucevic, over 9.5 rebounds here. The data across the board solid. 8 of his last 10 games, he cashed the over, 80% hit rate, averaging 12.1 rebounds per game. So far in 2024, a 65% hit rate, 26 out of 40 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 10.35 rebounds per game this year. And the head-to-head data, also really solid. 4 of his last 5 meetings with the Charlotte Hornets, he has cashed the over, an 80% hit rate, averaging 10.8 rebounds per game across his previous 5 meetings with Charlotte. Now, he's played the Hornets only one time this year, back on December 30th. He had 13 rebounds in that game on 16 rebound chances, played about 35 minutes in that game, went to overtime. But I think we still got a pretty good, solid matchup here. Versus centers, the Hornets, middle of the road, 16th in the NBA, giving up 12.7 rebounds per game this year to opposing centers. Ryan the hot hand, don't bite the hand that feeds you. We're going with Nikola Vucevic here, over 9.5 rebounds. I know it may not be the greatest matchup of all time, but the data seems to be really solid in our favor. He's been our cash cow all year long. We're going to keep riding him. Riding with him, over 9.5 rebounds. All right, guys, on our fifth and final leg of today's parlay comes from the Nuggets Heat game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We got Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat, over 7.5 rebounds here. Data, like I said, across all these products. The reason why today's video is not as long as some of the other videos this week is because I don't have to go too much in depth. The data across the board is really, really solid. 8 of his last 10 games, 80% hit rate. His cash is over, averaging 8.8 rebounds per game. So far in 2024, a 79% hit rate on this over. 30 out of 38 games he's cashed it, averaging 9.63 rebounds per game. And the head-to-head data, each of his last 3 meetings with the Denver Nuggets, including the one time they played this year, back on November 8th, he's cashed the over, averaging 10 rebounds per game across his last 3 meetings with Denver. The last time he played, he had 9 rebounds on 14 rebound chances in that game. And Denver this year overall, 25th in the NBA in terms of rebounds allowed to opposing centers, giving up 13.6 rebounds per game. Adebayo is always a risky guy when it comes to betting player props on him. He's really hit or miss, but I think this rebound prop, considering the matchup, all the data we've given here, I think we got a really good spot in our hands here for a cash over 7.5 rebounds here for Bam Adebayo. All right, guys, those are all 5 legs in today's parlay. Quick little recap here. Nikola Vucevic, over 9.5 rebounds. Bam Adebayo, over 7.5 rebounds. Paolo Banchero, over 19.5 points. Grady Dick, over 9.5 points. And Mikal Bridges, over 14.5 points. You parlay all 5 together, you get a parlay actually now plus 475 on FanDuel. It was plus 481. Originally has dropped a little bit here. Still valuable at plus 475. You can, if you don't want to follow on FanDuel, DraftKings, all 5 are available. It's just a lot less valuable, plus 385. Caesars, 5 out of 5, plus 264. So if you guys don't use FanDuel, still a couple options to go ahead and tail today's parlay. But all right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much always for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I'll be back tomorrow with another NBA player prop video. But until then, I hope you're all winners. Stay freaky. Enjoy your Freaky Friday. Have some freaky fun, but of course, be safe and enjoy the start of the weekend, the end of the work week for a lot of people. For me, not really the end of the work week, but it's coming. Don't worry. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Friday, guys.